And we're on the phone right here talking with them, and as the draft goes on, they communicate. It's an open line.
With their first selection, the Chiefs knew they wanted a running back, but the room was divided over who to take. Florida State's William Floyd, Texas A&M's Greg Hill, or Arizona State's Mario Bates.
Who you want in that group? 25th pick. Greg Hill.
On the clock now, the Kansas City Chiefs, who came so close, who got to the AFC title game last year.
Bill?
We have 5 minutes remaining with our selection.
We're at Hill and Bates. And I prefer Hill. He gave this guy a better grade than he gave Greg. So we got to make a decision here.
Okay, we got 3 minutes and 40 seconds right now.
Is there any questions at all about this guy's character?
2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Any questions about Mario Bates' knee? No. We're fine. Okay.
Texas A&M.
Because Greg Hill is what he is, a tough SOB and a good football player. And I'm not so sure about the other guy, but I don't know the other guy.
We got Mario Bates from Arizona State, William Floyd from Florida State, and Greg Hill from Texas A&M. All three are running backs.
I will just say this. If Mario Bates hadn't got hurt, we wouldn't be talking about it.
Bill, we have 1 minute and 30 seconds remaining. You there, Bill?
Get it here. I'd say, yeah.
I mean, talk to you.
All right.
You
You
go
want?
wrong on either one.
Right.
But there's one deciding factor. This guy's got to coach. You know that?
Right.
We got 30 seconds, Bill.
Whatever you want to do. I think Greg Hill's the player. I mean, Jimmy said the only difference in him was the size. All right.
20 seconds.
Be excited with Greg Hill?
Yeah.
Okay. Greg Hill.
Greg Hill. What do you want?
Greg Hill.
Greg Hill.
Greg Hill. I'm turning in Greg Hill, running back from Texas A&M. It's going up.
The card is on its way to the commissioner, and you know what that means.
We're all going to find out.
With the 25th pick in the first round, Kansas City selects Greg Hill, running back, Texas A&M.
All right. Hey, got another number one pick.
It always gets down to a final decision. I had that responsibility with the Chiefs. As a general manager, you're trying to give your head coach the players that fit his personality.
All right.
Hopefully you make a good gut decision.
The Chiefs spent their first 4 picks on offensive skill players in 1994. 3 out of the 4 were gone from Kansas City in 4 years. The 94 season ended with a first-round loss in Miami and Joe Montana's retirement. Mario Bates and Greg Hill both turned in average NFL careers, each rushing for just over 3,000 yards. A case in point is Jamal Anderson, one of 1994's big talkers and a 7th-round steal for the Atlanta Falcons.
Oh, I like it. Now, you know I got you that last play. Number one, I was a tweener, a fullback, tailback. So it was like, what position is he going to play?
And look at Jamal Anderson bust through the line. A fine run for the big guy.
And number two, I messed my ankle up at the end of my college career. So that might have got me more than anything else.
Up to the time he got hurt. He was a roaring Jesse, and he got hurt. But he's got the power coupled with all the other things.
I thought Kansas City was going to be the team. It came down to me and another guy, Donnell Bennett from University of Miami. And they selected Bennett. I did not ever forget that.
Anderson didn't forget the other 22 either.
I'm almost positive there were 23 running backs selected before me. Eric Red had a couple of good years. Chuck Levy, Arizona. Charlie Garner was outstanding. Mario Bates, nice guy, but that didn't work out. Donnell Bennett. Jeff Cothran, Tony Vincent. Wow. He ended up coming to Atlanta, and he was one of my backups. In the end of the day, I think there's only one guy on here who put up better numbers than me.
Actually, 2, but who's counting? While most of the others faded into obscurity, Anderson created the Dirty Bird and soared into the Super Bowl.
Touchdown Falcons! Jamal Anderson out of the backfield, and the Dirty Bird dance.
To be a big part of that, coming from where I came from, I mean, I wanted everybody who didn't draft me to pay. The best thing ever happened to Kansas City Chiefs was me going to the NFC. I can assure you that, Kansas City Chiefs.
All right, now, in regard to the free agent scenario, it may be a shot in the dark, but if there is a high priority guy here, you need to be there on the doorstep.
As part of the league's new collective bargaining agreement, the draft shrunk to 7 rounds in 1994, creating another pool of free agents among undrafted rookies.
A lot of teams after round 7 all ran for the phones to call the guys and try and sign free agents, the guys you would have drafted in rounds 8, 9, 10.
Let them know that, if you're not drafted, we're really interested in you. If we can't squeeze you on board, we're going to come knocking on your door.
But what we're trying to do is create a situation where we're saying, our guy's there, we've got the contract, this is the deal, sign it and let's go.
That part of the draft was really more frantic than the regular draft because every team's planning the same thing.
So in other words, we're gonna have to eliminate the guys that we think are going to get drafted and have the best chance of being someplace where there will be a legitimate free agent.
So what I have to do is follow the draft if I can. If I can get ESPN2 on, whatever.
There were a lot of guys that would have been drafted that weren't, but in a 7-round draft, they fell through the cracks.
1994 remains the best undrafted class in NFL history, including Kurt Warner, Jeff Garcia, DeMarco Farr, Tony Richardson, and Rod Smith, the Broncos' all-time leader in receptions, yards, and touchdowns.
In the end zone, Rod Smith with a Denver touchdown.
I'm probably one of those guys they looked at, say he's too slow and really kind of didn't even give me a chance. But I didn't get drafted, and I'm still upset by that.
I don't think you ever get over, your name not being called on draft day. When you get a sack in the NFL and you start doing a sack dance and pointing to people, you are pointing out every face from the combine, from the bowl games, all those coaches and scouts, everyone that missed on you. That's the people you're yelling at.
You just don't know where Terrell Davis is going to come from, where Tom Brady's going to come from, where Jamal Anderson is going to come from.
Do you remember where he finished in the Heisman that year?
Second.
You remember who finished first?
Charlie Ward.
In 1994, Charlie Ward was the reigning Heisman winner. But 2 issues kept him from being a top pick. First, he was a 2-sport athlete, and NFL teams doubted his dedication to football. Second, he didn't fit the prototype for a franchise QB.
Ward has joined Army's Pete Dawkins as the only Heisman winners to go undrafted. Dawkins was ignored back in 1959 because of his military commitment. Ward was given the cold shoulder treatment because he refused to make a choice between the NFL and the NBA.
My statement was, if the NFL didn't choose me in the first round, I would consider my other options. I'm not sure how that got to, if I didn't get drafted in the first round, that I wouldn't come and play football, or it made it seem like I was being arrogant. But no one approached because I wasn't 6'5", 210 guy.
What is the quarterback at Florida State saying about his basketball?
It all comes down to where he's drafted.
How high is drafted?
Yeah, how high he's drafted. Now, he said obviously if he's #1 draft pick in football, that's where he's going to go. Anything less than that, still up in the air. I don't know.
The Kansas City Chiefs called to see if I would be interested in being a backup for Joe Montana.
Lamar Hunt was enamored with him, and we all were. He was a great athlete, and we got down to 6th, 7th round, and we were considering doing that. Would have been an interesting pick.
It's a fine prospect here.
But I couldn't guarantee them that I would show up for training camp if I would have gotten drafted in the NBA in the first round.
With the 26th pick in the 1994 NBA draft, the New York Knicks select Charlie Ward from Florida State University.
Charlie Ward played for 12 seasons in the NBA, mostly in a reserve role. But the question remains, with players like Russell Wilson and Robert Griffin changing the perception of what it takes to be a franchise quarterback. Was Ward just ahead of his time?
I see myself as one of those guys if I had an opportunity to play in the NFL.
You still hoop at all? Not anymore.
Ironically, Ward now makes a living with the sport that spurned him 2 decades ago.
Well, I'm currently coaching, high school football.